Okay, ladies, welcome back. You already know what time it is. Let's go on a drink run. Okay, thanks for listening. This is a solo episode, first one ever. There was one recorded that unfortunately it was not recording through my mic, it was recording through my laptop. So the sound quality sucks. So here we are. We're doing it again. And you know what? I'm excited to do it again because I am feeling a little bit slap happy, might not be the right word, but I'm just feeling chill today. My husband has been on a little trip with his brother and nephew, sending him off to college. They're at a pro baseball game right now. I just went to Chili's with my baby and my sister in law. Life is good. Life is good. So this week we celebrated Holland's first birthday. And I've realized that I have not fully introduced myself on the pod. I'm sure most people listening probably know me because you are the real ones trying to support a girl. But I am going to introduce myself really quick for people who don't know me, and then you're going to have to follow along to get to know me better. But my name is Shalise. I'm from Utah. I'm 32. One of my least favorite things to do is literally just introducing myself. I will avoid it at all cost. I love to get to know people, hate the awkward setting of like, hey, introduce yourself. What do you like to do for fun? I like to do everything for fun. I like hobbies. I'm a hobby hopper. I love to just enjoy life. I don't know. I could say like pickleball is fun. I could say I like going to baseball games with my husband. All of those things are true. But at the end of the day, I just like to have a good time. I like to be around the people I like. And that is the gist of me. I grew up in Ogden. Some people may refer to that as like the Shadowland if you're in Lion King, but I grew up in Ogden and I have lived in Utah pretty much my whole life outside of serving my LDS mission in Virginia and North Carolina. Spoke Spanish. It was a great time. And I came home, decided to go to UVU by myself, be brave, moved to Utah County, and got my bachelor's degree in psychology, then decided I was going to get my master's degree in school counseling. No regrets. However, do not want to be a school counselor. And I moved over to the travel agency or the travel industry, if you will. So I work for a really cool company called Destinations. My coworkers are some of the best people that you'll ever meet. Every time we get together, it's like, oh my gosh, I get to go hang out with my girls, my friends, and it's the best. It has been such a fun time to learn about that world. It's a whole new world and it's been great. I get to work from home, which means I get to be with my baby a lot of the time. She's perfect. She just turned 1 and yeah, life is good. I'm married to my best friend, McKay. He is the nicest person you'll meet. So fun, so bubbly, great personality. I like to refer to him and now my daughter as my own personal rays of sunshine. And I stand firm in that. They are perfect. Okay, so we are going to hop right into today's topic, which is basically an overview of my first year of being a mom. And so I've decided to take some trends from social media and turn them into a podcast episode. So I'm basically going to recreate the trend in a video form or podcast form recording, and I hope it's fun. I am having to re-record this, so I have already gone over this, and hopefully, I don't know. I have mixed feelings. Some people might not find it entertaining, and that's okay. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But I'm having fun with this for sure. So, okay. First of all, we are going to do the trend of postpartum betrayal list. Some of these are good. Okay. I'm going to start off with some of the more common ones and lead up to the big whammies. Okay. So first of all, poor milk production. My milk really didn't come in and it was unfortunate because I did have the goal of breastfeeding for a year. That did not happen. And there were a lot of things I tried. Like I took the supplements, I ate oatmeal every morning. I tried to pump in between feeding her. And at the end of the day, I decided being in the now with my baby was much more important to me than stressing over breastfeeding. I'm very happy with my choice. I would have loved to breastfeed, I think, but I don't know. I did it for 6 weeks, crawled to 6 weeks, just combo fed her. And, you know, do I wish it was different? Sure. But overall, I'm glad that I just made the decision to be in the present and enjoy my baby just the way it was. And she's healthy, well fed. We're all good here. Second, I am not a sweaty person. I'm not a smelly person. Both changed drastically when I became a mother. Luckily, we're out of that phase, but I swear the first 6 months postpartum, I've never sweat more in my life, and I've never smelled worse in my entire life. I've never been a person where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can smell myself, like after a workout or something. I could smell myself after just waking up, or after going on a little walk, or after just sitting around, you know? It was crazy, and I hated that was my reality. But luckily, we're out of the woods on that one. Didn't love it. Okay, this is where things get a little bit dicey. These are my top 3. Okay. I'm trying to decide which one is the worst. So I'm going to save that one for last. Okay. First of all, right before we went to the hospital, we started having some issues with our air conditioning system. Keep in mind, again, it's August. We had our baby mid-August. So we're starting to experience some air conditioning problems. And I thought we had them resolved. We had someone come out and look at it. And when we got home from the hospital, it, became very evident that we were not out of the woods. So it kept freezing. And so they were like, don't turn it so cold. But we weren't really turning it down that much. We were being very conservative with how we were going about it because we knew that it kept freezing. So I remember very vividly one day, it was the day where I was the most sleep deprived. My parents both slept over. And my mother-in-law lives in our basement. And I remember going down in the morning. They had taken Holland for a little bit so I could take a little nap. I came downstairs. I was sweating to death, both just normal postpartum sweats. Plus my house was 80 degrees and I was sobbing hysterically. I was exhausted. I was overwhelmed and I was so overstimulated because I was so hot. So we called the people to come out again to check our air conditioning. And what they found was that this very random piece that connected the 2 different types of metals was busted on our outside unit of our AC. And so they're like, okay, we'll order the part. It looks like it's going to take a couple weeks. And we were like, a couple weeks? Like, we cannot live. It's 100 degrees outside. Our house is like rising 80s. I can't live like this with my newborn baby. So they order the part, says it's going to be a couple weeks. They bring us one like window AC unit. So we put it in my room because we figured, I'm hunkered down in my room. McKay had to go back to work pretty quickly. So I'm hunkered down in my room most of the day with Holland. So we put it in the room. But then I started getting a little bit like cabin fever, very anxious, because I couldn't leave that room of my house or I was sweating to death. And so there was that. And then they got back to us and said, hey, the part is on back order. And we're like, okay, for how long? October. Okay, we had her in August. Okay. So next thing we know, we have 3 window units in our house, 2 on the main level, 1 in our room. And we became the proud owner of 4 oscillating fans because we could not dill. So our home was very loud. It felt like we had white noise blasting at all time with all of the window units. It was not aesthetic and it was just kind of annoying. It was very crazy there for a minute and would not recommend. I loved having a baby in August because it was just fun to have a baby, be in postpartum. And then I went back to work right before Thanksgiving, had some time off, and then got to enjoy the holidays, and it was perfect. But I would not recommend having your AC go out right when you give birth. Terrible. Okay. This comes in second place for worst. I had PUP. I had never heard of this before pregnancy, giving birth. But so for the people who don't know what it is, I'm just looking up the definition really quick. So PUPPP stands for pruritic. I probably said that wrong. Pruritic urticarial papules and plaques of pregnancy. Probably butchered that. But the reality is it's an itchy rash that shows up on your belly, your elbows, your thighs. Usually this happens in the third trimester is what I've researched. However, with me, it happened with a fiery, raging passion a few weeks postpartum. And so let's just do this math in our heads. No AC, massive rash, the itchiest I've ever been in my entire life. When I tell you I had bruises all over my stomach because my stomach itched so bad. I would just sit there at night and itch it and like in tears freaking out to McKay that I couldn't handle it anymore. So finally I went to the dermatologist and I remember sitting there and telling the girl who initially saw me, I was like, I'm pretty sure I have PUP. And she said, PUP? That usually happens during pregnancy. And I said, I know, I understand that. But me and Chat have been having some conversations and Chat believes that this could be PUP. She didn't believe me. Sure enough, the dermatologist comes in and he was a saint for more reasons than just this, but he confirmed that I did in fact had PUP. I've never felt more seen in my life than when a listener, whoever you are, you need to message me directly so we can commiserate on this together. But I had a listener write in and say that they had PUP as well. It's terrible. I really wish I knew how common this was because I felt like a psycho. I was like, am I sick? Am I nasty that all of a sudden my body is breaking out in this weird rash post giving birth? So if you have experienced PUP, you need to message me because I have questions on how you handled it. How common is this? It was terrible. Okay. Last but certainly not least, this is so embarrassing to even say because every time I think about it, I'm like, am I a 13-year-old boy? No, I'm a 32-year-old grown ace woman. And I went to go get our family pictures done. Holland was like 1 or 2 months. I can't remember. But my cute work friend, Cassie, drove up the Alpine Loop with us to take our pictures. And I remember the day before we were to go up to take our pictures, I had been noticing for a while that on this finger, my index finger, there was a bump. And I thought it was a mole for a long time, but it was like I had this bump for probably 2 years, I swear. And during pregnancy, it started to kind of change a little bit. And it was starting to bug me. I'm a big pimple popper girl. Like Dr. Pimple Popper was my life right when she came out with her videos in college. I was obsessed. Everybody was so grossed out by me and my obsession with this. But if there is a pimple to be popped, I'm on it. My husband, we have this, deal that we made early on in marriage where I will tickle his back for a long time if I can have access to picking at his back for just a few minutes after. Anyways, so I see this bump on my index finger and there was a slight part of me that was like, is this a wart? But immediate denial followed. And I thought, no, there's zero chance that this is a wart. Warts are for 13-year-old boys or people who are nasty. I don't know. So I was like, it's not a wart. So then I decided I'm going to pick at this thing. So I start picking at it little by little. And finally, I kind of get the top layer of skin off. This is so gross to say, but I get the top layer of skin off and I look at it close and it's definitely a wart. I've never had a wart, but I looked at it and I was like, that looks like how they describe the fingers, if you will, of warts. So immediately I'm panicking because I'm like, well, frick, I just opened up the wart. And again, I've never had warts, but I know that you're not supposed to pick them. But my intrusive thoughts won, and I did pick it. So I'm taking family pictures in the mountains, And I had a little piece of duct tape over the wart for a little bit, took it off in time for the pictures. And I remember shoving it in McKay's pocket when we were in the mountains because I didn't want to litter. But then I was also panicking because I'm like, warts are highly contagious and I'm putting this tape in his pocket. What if he touches it? He's going to get a wart. I'm panicking about Holland getting a wart. So anyways, a few days goes by and I just keep this thing covered with duct tape. Well, all of my worst fears came true when one day I looked down and I realized I was breaking out in warts. I had multiple warts on my fingers. So at the same time I went in to the dermatologist to talk about the pup situation, I also was showing him my fingers full of warts. And he was so sweet to me because I was like, I'm a mess. I've been to the dermatologist maybe once in my life, and now I'm having 2 major skin issues postpartum. And he said to me that actually the second most popular demographic to get warts is postpartum women because your immune system is crap. And so you're a lot more likely to get them. All in all, people, I had 13 warts on my fingers. And I had to get every single one of them burned off and then put the little beetle juice or whatever they call over top of them. Had to go back one more time and get a couple more burned off. And first of all, it doesn't feel very good. In the moment, it's not really a big deal, but it kind of hurts for a couple weeks. Anyways, warts, disgusting, 0 out of 10 experience. Would not recommend. And so if you are suspicious that you have a wart, please don't touch it. Please immediately go in and have it looked at because it is just not worth the hassle of spreading around, running amok, and making you feel like a sicko. I was talking with ChatGPT. How do I prevent my daughter from getting this? When I talked to the dermatologist, I was like, I'm so nervous. She's brand new. I'm going to give her warts. Like, am I going to give her a wart on her face? Those were my fears. And he informed me, no, that's not likely, but let's get this taken care of. Anyways, we got it taken care of, but that is first and foremost, number 1 spot, warts from hell. Honorable mention is I love my mother-in-law and all people who have said this to me, but you know what? I hated hearing. Again, I had this baby in the middle of August. If I had a dime for every time I heard, where are her socks? I'm like, she's fine. It's night. Our AC is out. It's 82 degrees in our home. She's good. I promise. Quit asking about the socks. Okay. Moving right along. Things worth the money for me personally. And I'm not going to dwell on this one for super long, but I do feel like I need to list my list. Number 1, Baby Brezza. McKay fought me on this one until he was at work one day. And this is the thing that ticks me off about men is I can tell you, hey, this product I think would be very helpful for us in the middle of the night. We don't need that. We don't need that. We can handle that by ourselves. But then he goes to work and one of his coworkers had just had a baby as well. And his wife convinced him to get the Baby Brezza. And he was like, dude, it's the best thing that's ever happened to us. It makes it so simple. Next thing I know, McKay's like, hey, I've ordered us the Baby Brezza. And I'm like, oh. I let him have the win of just, making it his idea. But secretly I was like, I said we should do this weeks ago. We love the Baby Brezza. And I think it's worth every penny. Number 2, the Snoo. Mixed reviews on this one from a lot of people, but we loved it. It worked well for us. She was happy as a clam in there. She started at the end really hating it, mainly because we have now come to find out she's a belly sleeper. So being confined to have to be on your back, she didn't love that towards the end because she wanted to be on her belly. So, but overall, I really did love the Snoo. I felt like it did help calm her. And a lot of people panic about, oh, but if you move from the Snoo to a regular bassinet, they're never going to sleep. That wasn't our experience. So we liked the Snoo. This purchase cracks me up because when I look back at it, it really is, I don't know, controversial for sure, but it makes sense because it's a changing pad. I did end up justifying in my mind that we needed the Kikaroo changing pad, which is like, I can't remember how much it was. I think it was around 200 or something, but we actually do use it. And I don't know if it's because mentally I'm like, I spent the money, so I have to use it, but we use it multiple times a day, every single day. And it's held up really nicely. I think it's aesthetic looking, so I don't regret that one. My namesake recliner and dresser, those were splurges. And I tell people because I did get I did get some feedback like, "Oh, you're really going hard with some of the stuff that I bought." And I just thought, you know what? I was infertile for years. I'm so stoked to have this baby. I'm in a financial position where I'm a little bit older having my kids, and so I can afford to have a little bit nicer things and zero regrets. I love my namesake recliner and dresser. Every time I go in my daughter's room, it makes me happy, and it is the comfiest dang seat. I love that thing. My maybe baby carrier, my best friend Coco got that for me. We each got one for each other. So I gifted her a maybe baby carrier for her shower, and she did the same for me. And we've gone on a few hot mom walks, fun outings with our kiddos where we've worn them, and you feel good. It's like a perfect accessory for your outfit. So if you're questioning whether it's worth it, it is. It's cute and it's comfy, and my baby loved it. So going to the grocery store wearing my checkerboard maybe baby carrier was one of the highs of my life. It was a peak moment. Moving along, we have my Nuna system. I just feel like, so I've used a couple different car seats for traveling, or, I have friends who have different ones, and I'm not hating on any. I'm sure that they're all great, but the Nuna just feels like such better quality, and it's also cute. I hate to say it, but that is, it does have bearing in my mind. Okay, my Mina Bay diaper bag. My mom got that for me for my shower, and I love that thing. 10 out of 10 recommend. Hatch, go. We're Sound Machine family. My husband sleeps with a CPAP, for heaven's sake. So I'm a Sound Machine girl technically, not by choice, but now I love it. And so my daughter also is a Sound Machine girl in the form of the Hatch. Last but not least, the Newton mattress. As I mentioned, she ended up being a tummy sleeper, which we didn't know at the time, but I still decided, like, if she ends up being a tummy sleeper, I want to be able to, like, have peace of mind that she's okay sleeping at night if she does slip onto her tummy. And sure enough, she sleeps on her tummy. So that one is 100% worth it to me because I know it's breathable, it's easy to clean, and I can tell it's comfy. I know that sounds ridiculous, but when I'm moving it or when I put her down, I'm like, I would sleep on this, I think. So I love our Newton mattress. I do think that one was worth the money for us. Okay, next category or trend from the socials is things that I do not care about as a mom of a 1-year-old. Number one, I do not care if my baby is dressed to the nines all the time. I love dressing my baby up in some of her cute stuff, but I also understand that she is so much comfier and happier in PJs. If we're not leaving the house, I am not dressing her up. That's how I feel about it. And some people may agree, may disagree, but at the end of the day, I would rather be comfy. And 9 times out of 10, I am comfy. So I love keeping her in her PJs. I think it's fun to have a few outfits that are way cute to go out in, but most of the time she is going to be in pajamas, and I'm going to be okay with it because I think that I'd rather be in PJs too, girl. Okay, let's see. Next one. I do not care about sanitizing binkies all the time. If my daughter drops her binky on the ground, as long as it looks clean to me, I'm giving it right back to her. I'm not going to sanitize it every single time it falls on the ground. To me, that's not sustainable. It's not realistic. And from time to time, I'll wash them in the dishwasher, but I'm not sanitizing them at the end of every day. If that makes me a bad mom, whoops. But we're just not doing that. I don't feel like it's necessary. Obviously, if I drop it in something gross or she drops it on, like, oh. Obviously, if I had a camera mishap. Anyways, obviously, if she drops it somewhere nasty or I drop it somewhere nasty and there's like visible hairs or something sick, I'm going to wash it. But unless it's something like that, I am not going to take the time to go sanitize it. In my mind, they have immune systems. It's fine. Okay, moving right along. We have I this one is probably the most controversial one. I'm just going to lead with that. But I do not care if obviously when they first come home from the hospital, they are so delicate, so new, so fresh that I didn't want anybody like kissing my baby right off the bat. But now that she's a little bit older, I have zero issue with my mom, dad, my in-laws kissing my baby. Like, I don't want them kissing her right on the lips, but in my opinion, how fun is it and how special is it as a mom to see her be loved on by other people? And I understand that people can love on her without kissing her, but I just don't have a huge problem with it. To me, I love the fact that she's being loved on. I love the fact that people care about her, want to make her feel special. And again, it's okay if you don't want people to kiss your baby, but for me, close family and friends, I have zero issue with it. I'm never going to get mad at somebody for kissing my baby if they're people that I am very glad that she is being loved on by, you know? Okay, I do not care about I don't care about packing her a massive bag everywhere we go. As long as we have diapers, wipes, and maybe a snack, I'm chilling. Like, I don't want to have my life revolve around packing for every potential disaster every single time we leave the house. I can appreciate those people who do and who are prepared for anything. However, for me, I just feel like it's a huge hassle and not necessary. I would rather have the bare minimum essentials. And the blessed part is that we live in the US of A, where I have access to stores, I have access to my home, and I just feel comfortable leaving the house without having a massive bag. I don't want to haul it around. My husband doesn't want to haul it around. As long as we have, I always feel like the car is the safe zone. If we're playing tag, the car is like the no touch zone. As far as there's going to be something in there to save the day. So as long as our car has something in it, I'm not worried about hitchhiking a massive bag around wherever we're going. I just feel like it's unnecessary. I also do not care if from time to time my baby watches a little bit of television in the form of Dory's Reef Cam, Winnie the Pooh, or Dancing Fruit. There's a time and a place where it makes sense if your baby has a little bit of a distraction so you can keep your sanity. I'm not the type that's going to put it on all day, every day, and, neglect her. That's not happening. But if it's been a long day and she's been very needy and I need like 10 minutes, I'm going to put on Dancing Fruit and I know it's going to be okay. It's going to distract her. She's going to love it. She's going to be dancing. She's going to be happy. And then we can move on with our day and, positive vibes. Okay. Last trend, guys. Last trend. Hills I'll die on. These are maybe my hot takes or maybe just, my personal opinions. If you strongly disagree with any, I kind of want to know. So maybe drop it in the Instagram post in a comment or DM me if you don't want to do it publicly. Number one, I think it is so important to go on a walk every day. I think it's important at bare minimum to get your kid outside every day to enjoy some sunshine. And I think postpartum, it is so important to get outside, change your scenery, touch grass, like metaphorically and realistically. I just think I didn't know that I would feel as strongly as I do about this, but getting outside every day is very high priority for us. Number two, my baby will be eating naked 90% of the time. If we are home or with friends, she's eating naked. The only time that she's actually eating with clothes on is if we are out at a restaurant or with people that we don't know super well. But more likely than not, she will be naked because I don't want to deal with the stains. And I feel like the cleanup is easier. And also, I would rather do that than have her wear a bib. Maybe that's weird, but she's eating naked. We're having naked dinners. Okay, number three, she will never be wearing shoes. I think that they're cute, kind of. I mainly, my friend Michaela, shout out Michaela, got Holland the cutest pair of Nikes. She has worn those because they're Nikes and they're so freaking cute. Outside of that, the girl can't walk. So I'm not going to try to shove her foot in a shoe that she's not utilizing. I'd rather have her in a bow and cute clothes, or, I don't care about the shoes. It's not a priority. I barely care about the socks, let alone the shoes. Let's be real. Okay, Holland had her ears pierced at 8 weeks old. I'm sure that's very controversial, but even more controversial is the fact that I would do it for any other kid that comes along, same time period. It's a hill I'll die on, because at that age, she didn't bug them at all. Like, we got her ears pierced and it was if she didn't notice that it had happened. She cried a little bit when it happened, obviously, and we went to a hollow needle piercer. So that was a little bit sad because she had the first one done and cried for like 10 seconds, moved on. But then when the second one happened, you could tell it was personal for her. And she was like, Mom, what is going on? Once I can get over, twice is unacceptable. She was in shambles, but she rallied. And from then on, it was just easy. I didn't have to worry about infection as much because she wasn't touching. We would just do the alcohol that you're supposed to do once or twice a day when we would bathe her. So 10 out of 10 would recommend. My sister led the path by doing that with her daughter when she was 8 or 10 weeks old. I went to the same piercer, Happy Pierced in Lehigh, and yeah, would do again. Zero regrets. He'll all die on is that your daughters are, I cannot imagine a scenario in which your daughter is pissed that you took away her ability to choose to get her ears pierced. My mom pierced my ears when I was 9 months old. I have never once thought, oh my gosh, I wish Sherry wouldn't have pierced my ears so I could have gone and been scared to death and had to make the decision to get stuck with a needle. Like, I just don't think that that's a thing. Some people get so fired up about moms piercing their baby's ears, and I just think it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. Like, they're not going to be upset as adults that you got their ears pierced. It's just one, what's the phrase? I got 99 problems, but pierced ears ain't one. You feel? Okay. Next one. We love her routine when it makes sense for us. I think a routine is so important, both when they're babies and as they grow. I think it's important for adults to have a routine. However, I do think that the beauty of her joining our family is that she's joining our family and she's joining us on the things that we're doing that are fun, that make life enjoyable. And I love being able to have her be part of what we do and not change everything we do to accommodate her sleeping. I want her to get sleep. I want her to, be healthy, happy. I know that when she gets her naps, she is a happy baby, but I also feel like we've raised a baby who will sleep on me or will sleep in the car, and we can put her to bed a little bit later and it's not going to make or break the day. And maybe I'm blessed with a baby that's more low key. I don't know. We'll see on the next one. But I truly feel that a routine is great. And also raising a baby who is a little bit flexible is also great. That's the hill I'll die on. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Sleep training, also controversial. For us, it was 100% worth it and helped her tremendously because she was not the biggest napper before. She would wake up every 2 hours, up until she was 6.5, 7 months old. And we decided, okay, for her own good, because we had done some research and seen that a lot of babies who sleep through the night also take good naps. And we just felt the older she was getting, the more it was seeming like she needed more sleep, more naps. And so we did the taking care of babies method. And within 2 nights, she was sleeping through the night like a champ. And I don't really subscribe to the shaming of other moms for sleep training. I think that if you want to co-sleep, great. If you want to wake up every 2 hours until they grow out of it at age 5, 6, whatever, that's up to you. That's your prerogative. But I absolutely don't think that there should be any shame in a mom saying, hey, my baby is really not sleeping well. It is a skill to learn how to fall asleep. I need to help them learn that skill. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And for us, we would do it a million times over because now she is an amazing sleeper. And I think it's better for her overall health and quality of day, to be honest. Last one, actually not last one, but another one, I will not be drying a single item of her clothing. If you come to my house on days where it is Holland laundry day, you will see little teeny baby clothes hanging all over my banisters and laundry room. And that is because she is my first baby and I really want these clothes to last. I want them to hold up well. I want them to, not change the texture of the material. I'm very particular about that. I love my Noodle and Boo laundry detergent, and I'm not going to be drying her stuff. I'll dry her burp cloths. I'll dry her, like her sheets, her changing table covers, all of that I'll dry for sure. But her clothes, you're not going to catch them in the dryer. It's just not going to happen. I absolutely will be wearing all of the mom gear. If you see me in the streets walking, I swear over half of the week I'm in a mom day hat. I love mom day hats. I think they are so cute. Well done. I get so many compliments on them and I'll never stop wearing them. Another item is mom shirts. Kristen Jones has some of the cutest mom shirts. Give me a shirt that says mother. Give me a shirt that says Mom Racing Co. or Momster. I'm all about it. I have been dying to be a mom my entire life. Now that I'm a mom, give me the freaking mom gear and I'm going to wear that and I'm going to wear it happily and I'm going to feel like a cutie wearing it. This is the last one and I feel very strongly about this. There is no circumstance in which I believe that tasting your own breast milk, tasting other people's breast milk, tasting baby food, it's not something that I'm willing to get into. I have zero pull to know what my breast milk tastes like. I have zero desire to, get on the level of my baby and taste what they're tasting. I feel that it is a privilege of being an adult that I don't have to eat mushed foods and that I can drink or not drink, because I don't even like regular milk, but I can drink or not drink regular milk. So that's something I'm not going to be into. I know some people are like, I want to try everything they try so that I know what they're experiencing. No, not for me. Good for you, but it's not for me. Okay. Last thing that I want to do, I had some friends say that I needed to hurry and share my birth story because I went over both of my sisters the first 2 episodes. So I figure I might as well do this. And to be clear, this is not a motherhood only podcast. The first episodes have had elements of motherhood, which I love. And I do want that to continue to be a key element in the podcast. However, this is also just a podcast for the girls. So I hope that even if you're not a mom, you can still feel connected to the fact that we're women and it's fun to be a woman. It's fun to yap and chat. And not every episode is going to be strictly about motherhood. That being said, my baby did just turn 1 this week. And so I have been doing a ton of reflecting on her and the journey it's been. And honestly, I can say with full confidence that it has been the best year of my life. I adore being a mother. It's more than I could have ever imagined. It makes me feel successful. It makes me feel loved. It makes me feel like I have a bigger capacity to love. It makes me feel so much joy seeing her grow. it makes me feel so much purpose waking up every day knowing that I am so important to her and she looks to me for everything. And I love being able to take care of her and show her that she is loved every day. It's my greatest joy. Um so reflecting on bringing Holland into the world, I had some high blood pressure stuff go on during my pregnancy. If you knew me during pregnancy, you know that my ankles were literally the size of tree trunks. Scared to death that I had elephantitis or some sort of disease further than pregnancy, but alas, it was just high blood pressure and my blood pressure medication. It's kind of wild. I have pictures of me in Hawaii and truly it's alarming the size of my feet. No compression socks could touch those puppies. Let's just say that. So I ended up needing to get induced at 37 weeks because of my blood pressure. They wanted to make sure that baby was good and growing. And once I hit 37 weeks, they said, let's go ahead and induce you. So it was a Monday night and they said you should receive a call from us by 6 p.m. about when to come in or if we're going to have you come in the morning. And so I waited very patiently and literally I got a call at it was before 7, but it wasn't like right at 6, but they called and said, "Okay, we need you to come in at 7:30." So then I'm panicking because I'm like, that's zero time. My doctor is about like 30 minutes away. So we get my bag. We are nervous. I'm like so anxious, kind of crying because I'm also so excited. And we head to the doctor. It was me, my mom, McKay, and we head in and go get checked in. Everything went smoothly. I swear one of the things I was most nervous about was the IV. IV was smooth. It was great. And then they started me on Cervidil. And basically from the time I got in around 7:30, whatever, and started on Cervidil, I had made literally zero progress from 7, 8, whatever, Monday night all the way until noon the next day. So all night was just a series of being super crampy, uncomfortable on the Cervidil, having a million cervical checks, which were terrible. I remember I had one specific nurse. I had finally fallen asleep. This happened a couple times. I would finally fall asleep and then she'd come walking in, be like, "Hey, I need to check you." And then at one point she was like, I can't even find your cervix." And I was like, "Girl, what do you mean? You've been checking it all day. No one else has had an issue. Like, what's your problem?" And so she had to like call in somebody after trying for like literally 10 minutes, I swear. And that lady came in just to say, "Yeah, you're completely closed." And I'm like, okay, all of that to be told I'm completely closed at 3 a.m. Thank you for that. So not much progress. And I think of my whole birth experience, that was probably the worst part, is simply no progression, but feeling super uncomfortable and just wondering like, how long is this going to last? Because although I didn't have like crazy contractions during that time, I was definitely crampy and I was definitely like starting to feel them. And but there was no progress. So it just felt very mentally, it was hard to be uncomfortable, but also know that nothing was happening. So finally my doctor comes in and again around lunchtime on Tuesday and she says, "Hey, maybe we should do the Folly balloon. And girls, this is where you need to make sure that you marry a good one," because I had told McKay and my doctor, I do not want to do the Folly balloon because whether this is true or not, I swear like majority of the people I know who had the Folly balloon or Folly catheter end up getting a C-section. And I really did not want that. I was really nervous about that. And so I didn't want to do it. Well, she came in and she said, "Okay, like maybe right now is a good time to start the Folly balloon." And I didn't know how to say no because there was zero progress. And I was like, well, I don't really know what else to do if that's what she's saying I need to do. So McKay, bless his heart, he literally speaks up and he says, "Hey, like, is there any way we could do something else?" Because she really didn't want the Folly balloon. Shalice, like, "Have you changed your mind?" And my doctor at that moment was like, "Oh my goodness, Shalice, I'm so sorry. I remember that we had said that. So sorry. Let's not do that. Let's give you some pain medication for a little bit. give you a little bit of relief. And then we'll start Pitocin, if you haven't progressed in X amount of time. And like the nurses kind of wanted to send me home. And my doctor was like, no, like with your blood pressure, like this baby's got to come. So we're in for the long haul if needed. So my doctor leaves, my nurse comes in, she gives me like a small dose of fentanyl, and which was great because I was in a lot of pain and again, just feeling very overwhelmed and discouraged at the lack of progress. About 45 minutes maybe after I got the fentanyl, maybe less. I would have to fact check that with McKay. I swear he remembers half of it better than I do. But like within, I want to say a half hour, all of a sudden my water breaks. Again, at this point, I'm like only 1 centimeter dilated, but my water just randomly broke. And I remember my sister at this point was in the room, and she was like, I was like, guys, I think my water just broke. And she says to me, Shalise, it's okay if you peed your pants. And I was like, Kylie, I promise you I didn't pee my pants. And then like, obviously it did break. And so they came in and got me all fixed up. But from that point on, things went pretty quick, thankfully. So things started moving, not like super rapidly. I was still there. I mean, I didn't have Holland until the 11 o'clock hour PM. So I was still there for quite some time. But at that point, things started progressing, thankfully. And my heating pad was my best friend. McKay was amazing. Because it took me so long to finally start progressing, I really didn't want to get the epidural until I absolutely had to, because I have heard that slows things down. There's arguments that it doesn't, but I'll tell you why I believe that I was correct on my intuition on that one. So I labored for about 4 hours without the epidural, and it was hard. I'm not going to lie. By the end, I finally got it when I couldn't get through, because my contractions at that point were not even 15 seconds apart. Like it was just never ending, steady flow, basically no relief. And McKay was so sweet. The nurse taught us like a different pressure point from the back, where I was up more like in a chair and the lower part was down. So I literally was sitting in a chair and McKay would push on my knees. And there's like a certain thing that happens to your hips where it just releases pressure. So McKay was doing that, which was a godsend for me. And shoot, what was I going to say? Lost my train of thought. So I labored that way for about 4 hours. And finally, I just couldn't even stop crying. Like I would have one and I would just keep crying because there was zero relief. And finally, I got the epidural, and that was actually a dream. No pain. I loved the anesthesiologist, quick, easy, and it worked very quickly and it was great. The only thing is as soon as I got the epidural, then things slowed down for me. And at that point they put me on Pitocin because I hadn't been on Pitocin yet. So at that point they put me on Pitocin to speed things up a little bit because I had slowed down once I got on the epidural. And anyways, kept laboring. This is the worst part of the whole situation though. Actually, there's 2 parts that were kind of crappy. Part number 1 is I had really bad acid reflux my entire pregnancy. And right before I gave birth, like within the hour, I got a terrible case of acid reflux. And my nurse at the time was like, hey, I have this medicine that should knock it out. And I was like, perfect, whatever you got for me. She brings me this medicine and she says, it tastes pretty bad, so here's an apple juice to chase it down. And I remember quickly thinking like, oh, apple juice has been my enemy all pregnancy. Like that for sure gives me acid reflux. But if she's saying this medication will for sure take it out, then whatever, that's fine. So I take the medication, take the apple juice to chase it down. When I tell you, I have never had acid reflux so bad in my entire life following that. Medication did nothing. And the apple juice, I swear, just exacerbated the issue to the point where I finally got to the point where we were pushing And I would do 1 push, 2 push, and then I would have to pause and like try to swallow and keep myself from throwing up because my acid reflux was that bad. And that happened the entire time, the entire time I was pushing until Holland came into the world. And then magically, your body's so freaking weird because why is it that I had acid reflux for 9 months straight? And then the minute she's out, it's gone and have not had it since. It's just bizarre. So that happened. And then unfortunately, my doctor, by the time I finally gave birth, she was not on. And so it was another doctor in the group that was there, and she actually was amazing. I really loved her. She trained under my doctor. And she was just very kind, and it all happens so fast that it's almost like, I don't know, like they're just not there that long. So she was great, but also it was such a quick thing. Anyways, I deliver Holland, best moment of my life. So incredible to be a mom and see her come into the world. It was the most special time. So sweet being there with my mom, my sister. My sister was FaceTiming my other sister because we couldn't have that many people in the room, but it was just fun to have everybody there. And my dad was also in the waiting room. So was my mother-in-law. And I've never felt so special. I've never felt so close to heaven. I've never felt so much peace. It was absolutely perfect. After they put her on my chest, we were doing some skin to skin, and I looked down and I, delivered the placenta, whatever. And my doctor is looking at it and she's kind of, holding it in her hands and just feeling it, like feeling the texture of it. And she says to me, "Hey, so this is basically like shredding. So I need to go in and make sure that there's not some left over because you have what's called trailing placenta." And my placenta had basically calcified, they think largely because of my high blood pressure during pregnancy. And so she spent the next half hour up in my business, scooping around, basically just making sure that there was no extra placenta floating around in my uterus. And that was probably the worst part of the whole thing because it's like you have the epidural, but then it's starting to kind of wear off. And there was so much pressure. I'm trying to enjoy my brand new baby. And I had my doctor up in my business trying to scoop me out, making sure that there wasn't anything left. And, obviously the joy and happiness and excitement we were feeling overshadowed that, but that was a little scary that, my placenta had reached that point. And it was super weird because throughout the birthing process, they could never fully get Holland's, or like they could hear Holland's heartbeat and everything. And she was great the whole time, but they couldn't like really track the contractions for some reason. And after I gave birth, they said that it was because it was so calcified, which is very weird how it all works together. Anyways, I could not be more grateful to be a mom. I'm so grateful that I have a perfect girl. If you've met Holland, you know she is an absolute light. She loves everybody. She loves to chat. She loves to smile and show all of her teeth. She absolutely adores her dad, adores her dog, Grizz. She is the biggest fan of watermelon you'll ever meet. She actually had a watermelon smash cake with whipped cream instead of a real cake, just because I know that of anything in the world, if you present that girl with watermelon, it's game over. She's happy as a happy camper. At the end of the day, I look back on this year and am very grateful for the woman I've become, the mom I've become. I think that the best version of myself is where I'm at right now, so far in my life, which is very exciting and also humbling. And I feel like it's because I have a perfect girl to love on, and she is making me a more selfless version of who I am. And she's showing me how to be joyous in every moment. She's showing me how to be curious. She's showing me how to look through rose-colored glasses in a sense and just be excited about life. And it's been the best year. I'm so excited to continue the journey of motherhood. And yeah, I just full of gratitude. That's all I've got to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. A little bit different, a little bit fun doing a solo. It actually is pretty therapeutic just to chit chat. And so we'll see when I do my next one, what comes up. But I love you guys. If you're listening and if you've reached out, just know that it has absolutely made my day. And I am so excited for the community we're building. And I just hope you guys have a wonderful week. Make sure you go take care of yourself, go out for your drink run with your friends, do the things that make you feel good, and remember that you are doing awesome. Bye. Okay, this is a test to make sure that my laptop is not recording and that it truly is coming through my Rodecaster.